Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel L. Connon. Welcome to Premarket Info.
Well, today's show, we've got Eli Lilly. It's all over the place in the pre-market. They thought it was bad news. Turns out it might be good news on their Alzheimer's drug. Earnings from CRM, ADSK, and ARUN. Also, MSG just reported. Super value might be in play, but it might just be parts of the company. The Albertsons unit is getting some attention. And this market is approaching critical support area again. We have bounced off this mid-1390s multiple times. Can we bounce again?
Yeah, the tight ranges up there above 1400 kind of gave way yesterday. We currently are trading at Thursday's low, which was 1398. 1400, the close is going to be minor resistance. Need to get back over that close and hold that to keep this rally going. On the downside, we've already touched through the 7 and 8 day lows, but we're looking at major support here at 1387 and a quarter to 87 and a half.
Yeah, these low 1390s have definitely given us some good support. But before we go too much into depth in the market talk, let's talk about Eli Lilly. This stock has had the most wild pre-market range I have ever seen in the stock. It came out earlier on and said that their Alzheimer's drug failed to meet its primary endpoint. We heard this from the Johnson & Johnson Pfizer drug a month back. That's when Eli Lilly had this big sell-off because they had the similar drug and they were market was figuring, well, it's going to meet its or fail to meet its primary endpoint too. So that news came out. The stock, believe it or not, traded all the way down the pre-market to $40.90. But then Eli Lilly came out and said that the drug does slow cognitive decline, and that their studies will continue. So basically Lilly coming out saying, look, this is good news, guys. This isn't bad news. And now the stock is trading up at a new 52-week high this morning, 45.26. What is going on with Eli Lilly?
Well, I know it's corny, but Lilly's acting silly here in the pre-market.
It really is acting crazy. I don't even know if you call it silly. I'll call it just crazy. This is a stock that typically has a 30 or 40 cent range. Obviously, when there's news on drugs, these stocks do move. But we have traded the 3-month range here in the last hour here in the pre-market.
Yeah, looking at that low, I'd hasten to say that we're not going to get that back down to that pre-market low.
You're telling me those news algos, the ones that slammed it on that headline, are not going to get their money back, Joel?
They may want to do some reprogramming on that. I mean, that just goes to show you, trading the news is a very difficult thing. And then also trading in the pre-market, you can see what can happen. You got to just let this thing just do what it's doing here in the pre-market. We've hit 45.39. That blows away the 52-week high. I would take a look at this old high that we had in the market. We had a double top at 44.60 and 44.67. So if you're happy with the run and you're not going to try and pick a top in this thing, I certainly would keep an eye on that area. I would call that support right now. If it breaks through that area, there's a whole lot of air in this stock. You have to actually go out to the monthlies here to start getting some resistance in this stock. Interestingly, back in October of 2008, Lilly hit 44.44. That coincides with the highs that we had a few months ago. And besides that, you're looking at 47.88. But if it hits 47.88 today, I'll do a handstand around the parking lot here.
It's crazy, though. Like, this range is just insane, and the market obviously now thinks it is very good news here. So interesting, the whole Johnson Pfizer, when they failed to meet the endpoint, they actually knocked Pfizer and Johnson down pretty good, and they knocked Lilly down in sympathy with it that day. You can see the big down move there in mid-July. But now Lilly coming out saying that it does slow that cognitive decline. This is a big drug for Lilly. Like, you can say Lilly has lots of drugs, lots always in the pipeline, but this could be a difference maker in this stock. So if this, obviously drug ever gets to market, it's going to be a big moneymaker for Lilly, and that's why there's so much banking on this. So it's very hard to trade this stock technically when there's so much news, when this news is not totally interpreted, whether it's good or bad. It's obviously good right now, but on the initial headlines, it didn't look good. So crazy moves. If you're trading Lilly, expect some volatility. This is on 600,000 shares too, so it's traded a ton of volume too. Crazy, crazy move.
Well, it actually, I mean, looking at the volume in the stock, it does trade anywhere from 5 to 10 million. So it's a fraction of the volume, but at this point, standing in front of it doesn't look like the thing to do.
45 and a half now. I was thinking myself, I was even saying it to you before we just started the show. I was like, this thing could be a good sell, that 45 area. I don't think it's going to open that high. It's at 45 and a half now, so I'm glad I didn't sell it at 45 because it's continuing to go higher. I think I'm just going to sit back on my hands and let this one figure out where it wants to go until I get some more reference points. It's a difficult one to trade. CRM announced earnings last night, Salesforce.com. They came out, they beat 42 cents against estimates of 39, but they did lower guidance down to 31 or to 32 cents. Analyst estimates were up at 34 cents for the next quarter. So that's why the stock is trading down. It's down at 141.05 right now, so it's down about five bucks.
Yeah, but it was down a heck of a lot more. It got down to 136.99 when
Last
that
night.
initial news came out. And then you just had a rounding bottom just above the 138 level. 138.30 looks to be very, very good support. So if you do get a pullback to that 138 level, if you're short, you may want to look at covering in that level. Coming on the upside, since we've hit this 136.99 level, we've had a bounce all the way up to 143.24. That was just a few minutes ago. So I would keep an eye on that level as minor resistance, but just looks like this thing can go anywhere today.
Yeah, it's going to be volatile too. This one typically usually has a 3 or 4 point range, so when it has earnings, expect a little bigger range too. Autodesk reported this looks like it's going to be your disaster stock of the day, ADSK. The stock is trading down 22% right now at 27.79, closed at 35.71. They missed earnings just by a penny, 48 cents against estimates of 49, but they really started beating the stock up when they seen the guidance. 40 to 45 cents. Estimates were up at 50. So not good for shareholders of Autodesk. The stock is approaching and actually trading below its May 18th low at 28.52.
Yeah, I would keep an eye on that 28.52 as a swing number if it gets back above that area. I mean, you can call it resistance now, but with the stock down 8
Oh, yeah.
bucks or 22%, I would call that minor resistance. I just want to tell traders there's someone out there buying this stock here in the 27.75 level. It went spiked right down to that area after the news came out, and then has just been vacillating here. Basically in a 40 to 50 cent range here, and any time it gets close to 27.50, 27.24 is actually the pre-market low. Very little volume there. Had some more volume trading around 27.50. I think someone's looking to bring in a short here at that level. Below that, I mean, look out. I mean, there's other major support at around the $25 level, but 27.50 to 28.50 are your numbers at this time.
If this stock goes into rally mode for whatever reason here, though, that psychological 30 looked like it was great support at one time. You had a bottom in May, a bottom in June, a bottom in July, right above 30. That's probably going to be major resistance if this thing were to rally up. I don't think you're going to see it rally that much, but you never know. Stock's down 8 bucks, decides to find some value buyers. I think you'll find resistance at that 30. ARUN. It's not all bad news, obviously. We've been saying how all these companies come out and they lower guidance and they've been missing estimates and the earnings season's just been a disaster. Well, here's one buck in the trend. ARUN trading 19.28 right now, up $2.36. They beat estimates. Their revenue exceeded expectations. Everything good for ARUN, Joel.
Yeah, it kind of riding the Cisco network train here. This stock had popped up in the pre-market, very, very close to that $20 level. Actually got to 19.93.
Whoa.
Boy, that coincides
Yep.
really nicely with the 1996 high on May 3rd. Since hitting that level, traded down to $19, really consolidating here in the 1925, 1930 area. So if you're playing it from the long side, it breaks below 19. I wouldn't be looking for a lot of bids there. There's a lot of air. Very good reference point at 1993 high back on August 23rd seems to be a level, and also right up against the $20 level.
One stock that could be in play here today, article coming out, SVU Super Value is trading up here a little bit on rumors that there's interest in their Albertsons unit. Super Value has said that they would like to sell the entire company. That could be difficult, but there is interest in their specific unit, their Albertsons unit. So stock is trading up here 28 cents. For you guys who like to trade $2 stocks here, this one could be a little bit volatile. It's up to $2.30.
Well, doesn't look like people are finding much value in super value in the pre-market with this news. Very little volume associated with the move. Major resistance in this thing at the 260 level. Couldn't even breach that in the pre-market. I see one measly print here at 250, and then it's backed off. So that if it's in play and it's going to be over 260, you should know pretty quickly.
I just want to note Johnson & Johnson did go ex-dividend here today. I just wanted to note that. It's trading down here. Obviously, well, it's trading up actually. So the adjusted close, it's showing a close 67.74. The adjusted close is 67.13. So it actually is up 13 cents. And you never know. Some of this Lilly news could filter its way down. I mean, Lilly is now up over $3 here. It's trading the 46 handle now. So it could filter down into the Johnson & Johnson Pfizer because they do have that other drug that they're still, it's been, studies have been put on hold, but they were kicking it around before. So the stock is trading up here just a little bit at 67.26.
Yep, very good support in Johnson & Johnson at 67. Traded there on July 24th, 67 even. So a lot of times if you took this home just for a strictly dividend play, I'd be looking for these guys to get out at the mark.
One other just reported earnings is Madison Square Garden. Stock is trading up pretty substantially here in the pre-market. It's up 9%, trading at 43.89. They came out beat pretty good, 37 cents against estimates of 32. So Madison Square Garden, is that a new 52-week high for that stock?
That's a new all-time high.
Ooh,
The stock
nice.
IPO'd not too long ago, back in January 2010. This is a new all-time high for the issue. I guess Lynn Media, even though he went to Houston, is still spilled over into this stock. Just trading at 43.89 in the pre-market. That's been the high.
Higher
now 44. Yep, 44.20 is a high. I don't know what to say about this one. The first print after the news was 43.20. So if you are playing this from the long side and you get a break below 43.20, a lot of air under that, and resistance, let's call it 50.
Okay, let's talk about this overall market because you started talking about it at the top of the show, and we do have some decent support here in the mid 1390s. We've bounced off here multiple times in the last month. Can we hold up in this area? Is this going to be the sell-off there to buy, Joel, or is it going to take that support out?
Boy, I tell you, I mean, the psychological 1400 level. Last time the SPOOs got up to that, it was the multi-month high. We had a big sell-off. Just the way that rally was above 1400 and a lot of the individual issues. I think the reason that you had tight ranges is because you had big institutional sellers. You had people getting out of the market. There's a chance here that we've seen a high going into the election. There's going to be a lot of bannering going back. So I'd take some chips off the table if you've been sitting in this market since the 2008 bottom. There's nothing wrong with getting some protection at these levels. I don't think we're going to whoosh down, but we get a couple. I'd look for two more closes before 1400 before I'd throw in the towel on alongside.
We need to break down, and sometimes you can look at these sell-offs here, and then you can look at the individual components and try to see, what's making that up, that move down. I mean, Apple here, if we just look at the last few days of trade, obviously had the big sell-off below 650, the big spike up back to 670. Now it's kind of hanging out at 661 in the middle of this whole range. Obviously, that all-time high up there, what was it, 674.88.
Yep.
That's obviously the big number for Apple. I think if Apple was to ever get above that, it's going to be on its marching path to 700. They obviously do have their new product launch coming next month, so that could be a driver too. But we're kind of stuck here in the middle, where we've had this move down, and now we're stuck in the middle. Starts to take out 660 and goes retest that 650. That's obviously not good for the overall market.
Yeah, there's not a lot below yesterday's low at 661.15. That 648.11 level was huge. That's what it had the monster bounce off on Wednesday. So I'd keep an eye on holding that 660, and I think some sellers, you get back up to that 670 level. I could see some people letting go of the stock, but you have a couple other stocks in the Big Ten that are just kind of starting to break down too. Microsoft ran into a wall there at the $31 level, put in a couple tops now. Lo and behold, we're coming back to 30. AT&T is just the old sitting on a cliff formation. It keeps bouncing off that 36.43,
Yes,
36.45. That coincides with a low that you had back in July. So a lot of the big components, as well the index, is sitting on major support. And you just got to see how they all come together.
even IBM there, it was weaker there yesterday, but still sitting around, and still you'd still say that whole 195 area still held up above that. The low yesterday just being 195.44, so it's still holding above that 195 area. But IBM's had 3 or 4 bad days in a row here. Do you think that trend continues for IBM? You think it goes down, takes out that 195 today?
IBM, I mean, it kind of led the market off, on the sell-off. It's had, basically 3 straight down days, pretty good down days. There's really no major support in this stock until 193.02. That was the low at August 2nd. It's turned. The worm has turned. It's been a couple days over 200, and now it's just, if you didn't sell it on the way up, good luck selling it on the way down.
Well, just another Lilly update. It is trading at 46.10, so holding up there on 1.3 million shares.
Whew.
So, wow, what a move for Eli Lilly. I guess those value investors that are holding that stock for the dividend are getting some capital appreciation on this one today, too.
Yeah, it hit a high at 46.42. It having a while before the stock opens, so just keep an eye on that pre-market high and use that as your only parameter.
That's our show for today. Everyone have a great weekend, and we will see you guys on Monday morning.